That makes me happy.
No.
Are you good to go? What are you?
I think telling guys they're upset is funny.
I'm sorry. I'm just upset right now.
Yeah. Okay, she's got it. It's in there. All right.
Good.
Let's do it. Yeah. Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy business podcast.
Suck my pussy from behind.
That's right, Lizzo. That's right. You get it. You get it, girl. You get us.
Suck it good.
You get that this podcast is about pragmatic entrepreneurial advice.
Right.
With
Right
real
from
raw
the drop.
dog talk. What? What's that?
Right from the start.
Right from the start. That's how we get the explicit tag on stuff.
Yeah, I forget about it every time.
2020's best small, medium enterprise business advisory podcast in the United States. And we already won 2021's best podcast and streaming entertainment studio, Eastern United States. Thanks to Media Innovator Awards 2021, hosted by, that magazine you grew up with, Corporate Vision Magazine.
Duh.
Listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us that 5-star, write a little something, write one sentence. If you're listening to this right now, pause, go do that, subscribe, rate, review. That all helps the podcast. If you can't get the hookup from our sponsors, which this episode is sponsored by Grasshopper. Try Grasshopper.
Wait, then what? Then what?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
Just move on.
Okay.
We're running out of time. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. That's the entrepreneur's phone line. A business phone line, an app that's separate from the phone number you got on your iPhone, or if you have a Samsung, getting ripped off by that data from Google.
Yep.
Either way, Grasshopper works on both of that and works on your laptop, tablet, all that stuff. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. You can make vanity phone numbers. You can do 1-800 numbers.
69, 420, they can all go in there.
Yeah, you need 2 more, but yeah, you get the drill.
Well, nobody. 69, 420, whatever. It's already taken.
You can do 1-833-420-6969.
Guarantee you it's taken. But
Yeah.
you can get them in there.
Try grasshopper.com/sweat. $75 off an annual plan. Who's hooking you up like we do? No one.
Nobody.
Let's get it started. Howdy
What
dotty.
about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Rayla, why don't you give your plugs at the top of the show before we get into it and forget to do it? Where can we find you? How do we hire you? Where can we find you?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. So you can find me at Rayla, RAYLA.co. That is where you can learn about me, what I do, how you can work with me, how I can help you change your life. That's where my group coaching program is. I'm not really on social media. Ron knows I have an aversion to social media.
Yeah.
But I'm more of an in-person person. So if you want to connect, otherwise, like DM me, hit me up, email me, contact me through my site. Happy to connect.
And if anybody's listening that wants to hit us up to get our info, that missed that, maybe you're jogging, doing laundry, stuff like that. We'll pass it along. I got your email, girl. So I want to hear about the coaching, but I want to table that for the reason that we expedited you coming on the podcast, because I've been wanting you on, and just I'm terribly unorganized with this podcast.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Oh, by the way, this is Eric. I don't know if you've met. So
Nice to meet you, Rayla.
give you a little background. Rayla and I met, 2004, when you came to Auburn for a Tennessee-Auburn game. And
Yes.
you're like, God, this guy is hot. And you...
I'm glad
You're a
I got
married lady
Rayla's
now. I
reaction
can't
to
even
that.
I
make those
remember it
Your husband
going
is there
differently.
tonight, yes?
You're like, will you take me to the game? And I was like, no, man, I got too many dates. I'm in a sitcom situation, juggling 3 already.
I think everybody knows that the guy asked the girl out on the date for the game.
I know, that's what made it unusual. I was so surprised. We just met. No, all I remember was that you were a friend of a friend you came in for the game, and then I don't remember much else, because that's what you do for college.
It was a good time. Yeah, you were in a fraternity. It was like it was just a group of people that hung out,
Was it
and
a
you were
fraternity?
friends with. my
Were
friends'
you?
friends, and it just kind of happened.
You didn't know it was in a
And
frat?
by happened, I mean like we just all hung out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll let the listeners, take it from there, wherever they want.
What frat were you in?
Oh,
The cool one?
No, definitely not.
I know. 'Cause
Sigma,
no matter what you're about to say.
Sig Ep, and
very
you know
cool.
what? No, here's something. They just got kicked off campus 5 years ago for cocaine.
All right, well, that's pretty
in
cool.
Alabama. It's like
Yeah, where do you get cocaine in
it's
Alabama?
so atypical.
You got to go all the
It
way
has
down
to
to
be real
mouth of the
bad for
river.
you to get kicked off campus at Auburn.
Yeah, that's
Real bad.
That's pretty fentanyl
Right, they're
era.
desperate for people.
No,
Please come to Auburn.
Oh yeah. Well, ours was diverse because we had guys from not Alabama and Georgia.
Wow.
We had white guys that were from other places.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are white people like where you're from?
I remember like making fun of my friend Chris Davis for being from Cincinnati. And we're making fun of him from having northern tropes or whatever. And then everybody turned on me and they're like, "You're fucking northern." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Guys, technically I'm more southern than you are." And no one found that cute. And
Right.
yeah. So that's how I partied in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a frat. You didn't know that?
No.
And I mean,
Kinda
I am.
changes a lot
I'm
of
always
shit,
in a
man.
frat. I'm always a brother.
Like I have some stories about you that people may not know.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that
Oh man, I gotta go.
right now.
Well, it's a good
Please.
interview. It
I'll
was
take
nice having
over.
you on.
That's fine. You can leave. You don't have to be here.
You
I
can-
can take over from here.
You can go for
I'm
it.
saving those for when your babies get older.
Oh man,
Well, we can get it on record
here's
here,
what a
and I can
degenerate-
play it for him later if you like. That'd be good.
your dad was a degenerate with a short haircut and a fat head. That's how I rolled back in the day. So
They're gonna be like, "Yeah, we know."
yeah, they know. Yeah, they know. Yeah, when are you going to sit them down and tell them the story? I've never had any of my dad's friends be like, "Your dad was a party animal. Got no pussy in college." Like they're never going to
You
sit me
don't
down.
think that?
No, I'm
I bet
saying
your dad
no.
was hammering pussy in
I'm
college.
sure, and never.
Just think about it.
I'm-
Your dad.
my mom listens to the podcast, so that's not really respectful.
Well,
She's never listened.
that's what she likes about him.
No,
How cool he is.
he's taking it to the grave. So we started talking recently, and look, from one potential embarrassing thing to the next. So I've been trying to, per Eric and I's quasi mentor, who I call Business Dad. He was
He hates it.
he was yeah, he doesn't think it's funny. He was telling me, "Do you think you're being kind of humble by not putting any comedy content out there?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, you're right." So I've been trying to do these stories on my social, just as an exercise. Let's write a joke, put it out there, and I usually do it after I work out because I won't overthink it, and I'll just put it out there. I'll work out and get it'll keep my mind off of how terrible working out is or running or whatever. And then I'll put it out there as soon as I can get it done, after I'm done.
Sure. Don't think about it.
Runner's high,
Yes.
all that stuff. And so I put a story out there that was, I thought, innocuous. And so it was, I just ranked French fries. By the way, what's your ranking? Give me your top 3.
Well, Checkers is number 1, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
But no, what's yours?
And then what do we got to do?
What's-
Well, Checkers.
Checkers,
and then
Rally,
the others.
Rally if you're on the West Coast.
Well, that's all the same. And then probably Chick-fil-A, waffle fries, and then all the other ones are kind of the same, right?
So McDonald's was my 3rd. So
Was
we're
it?
in lockstep. That's why we're heterosexual life mates.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no
I can't
civil
share- I can't
union
share
for
Eric
that
with no
that gives
woman.
us a tax break or anything. We've looked into it. It doesn't exist.
But
Tried.
so what I did, and I didn't think about it. So when you go up to pull a GIF up,
Or Jif.
GIF, I'll fucking fight you right now.
That's fine. We'll make a Jif
I'll
out of
knife
it.
fight you, dude. I'll do it like Beat It, Michael Jackson style. And we
That's really
dance,
scary,
knife fight in
That's really
a
scary.
parking garage for
Well,
some
I'll
reason.
kick your ass in a dance
Oh.
fight. That's
Y'all are a riot.
Yeah, you don't even really need to be here for this, man. We just gotta argue about who's gonna win the dance fighting competition, and then
Look,
we'll
this
call
is-
you back, I guess.
This is just the foreplay into the interview. We have to set the table. So So
Conversational lube.
So like, let me go backwards a bit. So I did one in June, and when you pull up the gifts, it's a little timely. So it's like Pride Month. So I put like, okay, cool. I'm down with gay people. I wish I was gay. It'd be awesome. But
we could get a tax
not my
break.
thing. Yeah. So I put like a unicorn with a rainbow on it. No big deal.
All those things.
And I don't think anything of it. It's just silly. It felt silly.
We'd be the gayest of the gays.
But I half a second thought, I was like, oh, this is fun. And so I put on this social story. I saw buy black, meaning buy from black businesses, GIF, and you hit me up and you were like, hey, not that cool. And I was like, huh? And I was like, and when we were talking back and forth, I was like, I hope she doesn't think afterward. I was like, I hope she didn't think I was just trying to play it dumb. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I really was just like, I don't know. I think it's important to buy from black businesses, but you're like, you can do better than that. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so we had this kind of convo back and forth, and we've been meaning to have you on to talk about your coaching, but I was like, well, this is relevant, and it is related to business. And how do us honkies help that out? I don't even know, right? So it's like it's one of those things where you make an effort to maybe want to do it, but I think a lot of people don't know how to. And so it was like, why don't you come on and talk about that aspect of everything? So how do we do it? How do
you buy black and support black businesses?
Yeah, without being callous, I guess, about it in my social story jokes.
Yeah, so your social story, I know you. So I don't know who follows you, right? But I know your humor and like your type of comedy, and like I can just see you doing it because I've seen you post those running videos. I can see you being like, oh, I'll put that on there, this is funny, like, and not thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think anything of it, I thought you were literally about to tell us about black owned businesses where we could get what you were talking about. That's what I was confused, is where it started.
Right.
So I was like, what is he talking about? And I was like, oh, and then I figured it was just like you explained it. So knowing you, though, I think so I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's important. So knowing you, I was like, of course, I'm going to give you grace. And because I know you and you're my friend and you're a business owner, and I think you have a voice and a platform, etc. It's my duty as your friend.
Yeah.
And as a black owned business owner also, to just be like, hey, we can do better. Like when we know better, we do better. When we see that someone else can do better, we point it out, right? I think that's what we should all do.
Yes,
so
that's great.
That's what friends should do, yeah.
Right, that could have come from anybody. So I was just like, I was confused. You could actually be telling people to buy black, and I think people would listen to you, especially if you made it funny, especially if you were actually talking about a real business. And so my thought was like...
Yeah, he didn't... So you did not... It had... The phrase buy black had nothing to do with what you were talking about.
It was a cute shopping bag.
Right.
A gift. And
exactly.
Like, this is neat. And I was just like, threw it on there. I was like, yeah, I support that. I'm cool with that.
The bag itself was like, the color of it was black, and you put buy black.
It would be something that you would tag a black business in to say, like, this is a black business. Buy black.
Okay. So it was from a black owned business.
No, that's what he put on there. That's why I was confused. Okay. This is why you're confused.
This is why I'm confused.
Right.
Now I'm just finding out Eric doesn't look at my stories.
Right. Can you guys,
whatever.
Run this back. I don't pay attention, so you're going to need to explain it to me.
So it was just a flippant gift to put on there, but the message I agreed with, but it had nothing to do with the video I made. So, my
point was, you have an influence. People listen to you. You can do better. I think if you actually were telling people, you're like born and raised in Tampa, if you were telling people about a black-owned business in Tampa, people would go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll look into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think overestimate my reach, but yeah. I think that's fair. And I'll do one after we do this.
So I think to answer your question, how does one do that? I think being plugged in the way that you are, knowing what businesses are black owned, because maybe you wouldn't know. So I am the face of my business as a coach, but I provide a service. But if I provided, like if I sold cups and I didn't have my face or story with my face on it, you wouldn't know that this cup was Black owned, right? So I think it is being well networked and just doing due diligence and having intention around where you spend your money, and knowing like this cup was made by who and who manufactured it and what's, learn about their supply chain. Is it sustainable? Do they have corporate responsibility? Does their organization support DE&I? Do you align with their values? Just, I think it's about being educated in your purchases in general. And then it's a plus if that business is a business of color. I think that there is, at least in the Black community, and I have tried to do this, be more intentional about doing that due diligence. I wasn't always aware. You just go to Target and pick stuff up or order it off Amazon. It's because it's easy. But I think being intentional, especially in a pandemic and a recession when small businesses are struggling, to take the effort to maybe spend $2 extra to support that local business. And then, maybe go in that extra mile. And my point was maybe Black people, I think, are doing that more, and hopefully people of color are doing that more, to say, you know what, I'm going to intentionally buy cups from Black people if I need a cup, or I'm going to intentionally buy, like, oh, we need a microphone upgrade. Are there any Black businesses that make microphones? Just it's the intention of and that intentionality of thinking about it versus just making a purchase off the internet because you need it. So I think that's the best way to do it, and to buy locally, it helps to be well networked in a way that you are. So you could probably speak to that law. A lot of different people, a lot of different business owners across culture lines, if you will. And so that's why, again, you could say, oh, you're looking for a life coach? And you don't have to say, I know a Black owned life coach or, Black business but you would just shout me out. Like, I think this person could be a good fit for you. Check her out. And I happen to be Black. So I think it's, one, doing your due diligence, and two, like shouting out Black businesses when you can, because Black businesses, I think this might be something that white people might not know. It's just, we just don't have the resources always that other people do have. Sure. In terms of funding, in terms of reach, in terms of just resources and everything. And so anytime you can get assistance, a shout out or a referral, it does a lot. It's really impactful in the Black community, and it trickles down. So
it made me think.
I was gonna say, what jumps to my mind is I don't know what it is called, but there's a company that they bypass Amazon, and they give you local businesses that you can get delivered very similarly to Amazon, and like the speed and everything. And it's like jumps to like thing I'm thinking about is like, oh, for Black owned businesses, can they either piggyback onto that scenario where it's like, oh, I'd like to also purchase from a Black owned business, or like have their own separate thing where it's like, okay, if you'd like to,
one Vim
purchase locally, and then also, help any, particular ethnicity or whatever, any people from whatever walk of life that you feel passionate about helping. That could be a thing. Write that down.
Can I do the super white guy?
Yeah,
thing?
that's
when they're backed into a corner of feeling like they're a little racist. It's like, look.
Who, me?
No, I'm going to do the impression of the white guy that's like, oh no, I'm getting accused of being racist, or like not loving any other race. Like, look, I have a lot of Black friends. Martin was one of my favorite sitcoms. Like, Sinead was great. Like, you do these things, it sounds way more racist, overt racist. Right. To be like,
damn, Gina.
Yeah, like,
right.
I watch 106 in Park every day after high school. I love it. No, but I'm saying, like, is there a list? Well, that bombed. Is there a list of is there associations or something where you can go, like, for anybody listening, like, if they were like, because look, in marketing, it's all about, like, you talk about from the other side, from the business side, people make purchases with their heart, not their mind. And you try to catch them at that point a lot of the time. When we're talking like B2C kind of stuff, consumer related products, luxury goods, stuff like that, stuff you might get advertised on Instagram or something, right? And so you're trying to catch them at that position. Now, if someone were to take that kind of 5 seconds to go, hey, I'm going to try to source out some a Black-owned business. Is there somewhere to go or resources that you might know off of the top of your head? I know this is kind of a loaded question, but like, is there something where I can go, I want to support a
Does
business?
my idea already exist? Is there a
Sure.
database somewhere?
I think that it does a little bit. So yes and no. So for example, there is and I wish I could think of the name of it, but that might be something for you all to research and put in your show notes. There is a tour that happens in Tampa Bay, and we have I believe, mutual acquaintance / friend law who has done this, and that's why I know about it. But there's a tour where they literally take people on a bus going around to local Black-owned businesses. And I don't know the name of that, but I know that's a thing that exists, and I've seen it on social media. So there's that. 2, your local chamber should have that demographic information, hopefully. I know that, for example, the Tampa Chamber has a Black business owner accelerator program, something or other, and so they should have a directory of Black-owned businesses that are in their program. They're looking for resources and support, and et cetera. That also speaks to like diversify your world in general. You find out about women-owned businesses, LGBTQIA-owned businesses, Latina owned businesses by diversifying your network.
Yeah.
Right? It happens a bit organically. And also, like, don't sleep on Google. Like, just do a quick Google search of like something you're about to buy. Like, I need a new phone case. And so instead of just, because we're so like, it just happens. Like, next thing you know, you bought it on Amazon and you clicked a button because you can buy now and it's Prime and it happens in 2 seconds. Go, I wonder if there's any local businesses that have phone cases. I wonder if there's any local women-owned businesses that sell phone. It might take you getting in your car to do it. It might take you paying for that $5 in shipping or whatever it is, but just doing a little bit of due diligence. So I think those lists are out there.
Yeah.
If you look for them, but I also think maybe we all need to do a bit more due diligence and put those lists together too,
I agree.
You could do a shout out right now, like listeners, like as you find businesses, like email us and let us know. We'll put a list together. Like
I'll do that list. That's easy.
Yeah,
Google spreadsheet. I'll share it with everybody. It's fine.
We'll throw it on our social because we
Somebody has to
need
do
something. Yeah,
there ain't a lot of people going out Googling and going to the Chamber of Commerce and being like, I'm going to make my own list of these. Like, that's not going to happen. We're going to have to do it for them.
And as you're talking about it, you kind of give me an idea because there's every city. If you're in a city, which most of America kind of lives in some kind of metropolitan area, or near one, that there's always a local newspaper or alternative newspaper that gives out awards, and for the year to businesses. Typically, we have Creative Loafing, which is here, Charlotte, I think 2 other cities, Atlanta, something else, that they have like best LGBTQA. It's like doing.
Did he get that right? Is that all?
Is that all the letters? There's another one in there, I think now.
I heard earlier.
Anyway, the point being, like, there's probably an award somewhere every year that's given to that. At least that's like a jump start to something, Yeah. I have a lesbian barber, and it shows.
Did you win Best Lesbian Barber in Tampa?
She's like, do you want to look like Rihanna? I was like, no. I was like, too late.
This conversation is so important because people just
because he does look like Rihanna, right?
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because people just aren't thinking about it.
Well, yeah, it's mindfulness, right?
Like it takes that moment to think about where else can you buy, because we're all just running to Target, ordering from Instacart, getting on Amazon.
Right.
It takes effort to diversify where you purchase from.
Well, look, convenience is king. You learn in any business class, it's like your high price, but your unique differentiator, your low price, you sell in volume. And then now we have this thing where it's kind of a different model where convenience is taken over, and Amazon's like kind of, starting to get a lot of flack because they kind of control the labor market, right? So it's like the more we're lazy about our purchases, it's really hard to beat, honestly. But maybe you can look up the vendor that is in Amazon to like do a little due diligence and maybe use that Amazon Chrome extension I was telling you about, the fake spot.
Yeah,
where it gives all the.
I put that on. But there's another one though. There's and
is it one?
Gotta love this due diligence where I'm just throwing it out there. Like it exists, but I don't know what it is. There is one for local businesses that they say it's basically the same price as Amazon. Well, you can get most things from.
How about I'll meet you in the middle? You can do smile.amazon.com and you can donate to a charity that is for maybe helping businesses or helping communities that are, don't have the same opportunities, kind of thing.
Sure.
Yes. I think diversifying where you get your content too is really helpful. An example is Lovey Ajayi. I follow her on Instagram. She's a Black woman, writer, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, etc. And she just blasted a bunch of Black-owned businesses. She's like, this is my day-to-day, but these are products that I use. Maybe you all would be interested. And those companies sold out of the product, and none of us would have heard of those companies unless she put them on her social media. And I wouldn't have known unless I followed this Black woman that has done this due diligence. So I think even just diversifying where you are, diversify your friends, where you shop, who you
follow on social media.
You'll be exposed to those things organically a little bit.
So what if I follow a variety of thirst traps on Instagram? Does that count?
You do you, boo.
Well, Lovey Ajayi, is that LUVVIE AJAYI? If anybody's wanting to punch that in. Well, let's talk about the group coaching session. Did I get the term right? I want to make sure. The LinkedIn keyword
it's
in there.
a group coaching program.
So, are you doing sessions with people? Like, I'm fascinated with we found this out like 5-6 years ago from a guy who wanted to invest in our agency. That he was like, yeah, I do a CEO group where we sit around and we're all CEOs and we talk about our feelings. I was like, what? This shit exists?
Yeah.
And it was like mind blowing. And I was like, oh, well, they don't really have anybody to talk to.
Right.
It's lonely at the top, kind of thing.
Like when your jet runs out of fuel.
Right.
Sucks.
When you have to fire 5 people and you just have enough time to really give them the exit.
So I'm a certified executive coach, and these are real problems that CEOs have. I mean, you're joking, but there's
kind of not, though. Kind of not.
Well, we are the #1 comedy business podcast, but I'm saying like
CEOs listen to this show.
Look, we used to say entrepreneurship. The dirty secret about it is it's secretly very lonely.
So lonely, yeah.
And that applies to C-suite executives too, because you might as well be in a similar mode because you're doing so many things. You have to make a lot of decisions, and it all kind of rests on you. But you don't really have anybody to talk to.
Yeah, you can't talk to anybody about it unless you have a coach or a peer group that is going through the same stuff. So that people join masterminds or groups where they have similar problems they can flesh out.
So how does it work? I'm a CEO or I'm an executive, and I email you. I go, I want to maybe join a group. How does this work?
Yeah, so my program is not specifically for CEOs and that type of curriculum or coaching. So if you came to me, I would probably put a special package together for you for your specific issues and then maybe introduce you around to my network of CEOs. But my program is called Reset Your Life, also found at Rayla.co. And it is not for CEOs. It's for anyone who is looking to do that reset. So you wake up one day and you're like, how the heck did I get here? Got kids. I got the title. I'm a CEO or whatever. I got the title, but I feel like shit and I just don't feel good. And this is not how I thought it was supposed to go. I've always wanted to you quit your job and became a comedian, you have done some of the things that people wish they could do.
Yeah, I'm still
Wish
paying.
that
I'm
they
still
could
paying
do
for
it.
Kinda.
Yeah.
But there's like someone
Kinda.
out there who like dreams of doing that so bad. Like that calling is deep in their soul. And the closest they can get to it is like binge watching comedy on Netflix. And so my group program is for that person that's like, I'm sick of it. I'm ready to like change my life and actually go do the thing. And so that's the person that I serve. Someone who's like, I want to do something different, but I don't know how to do it. I want somebody to hold my hand, give me a step-by-step curriculum, give me the community and all the resources to do that in a pretty quick amount of time.
You're a business therapist of sorts in a way, right? So it's like basically people are telling you. I mean, look, when I do discovery sessions with clients, it's the same thing. I'm trying to figure out about them. It's like a first date a little bit. You're trying to get to know them enough, and just
Figure it out long term without
Yeah.
directly asking
yeah,
things. You know,
not trying to close on the first date,
Sure.
because I'm a gentleman. But I'm saying like it's one of those things where you're empathetic, and then we talk about empathy and ego a lot on the show, and you're empathetic to go, I'm going to listen, because maybe they don't have someone in their life that actually just listens to them.
Most people don't.
Right, because if they're the hard pressed kind of executive, or they're a bottom line person, they have to make those decisions and stay true to that absolute kind of decision. And then there's the other kind of executive that is a little bit more collaborative, but they might be too big of an empath and weighs on them too much, the decisions they're making. That seems to be one or the other, just broad strokes. And so you've got the ego aspect to go, here's a plan I think that can help. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say. So people don't have someone to talk to without judgment. So people might have someone to talk to, but they're not getting the support. And it's shocking how many people's partners aren't supportive, or people just they're in a friend group, but they can't really talk about their dreams and goals in that friend group. And so, yeah, people need guidance. They need steps. It's like, I need to know what to do, like tomorrow after work. What am I going to do tangibly that I can like sit down for the 20-minute window to move things forward? So people need that
structure,
listening ear, and structure and guidance. Yeah. And like, I call myself a hype woman because people need to be spoken into. Like, you can do it. Like,
Yes.
a lot of people don't have that person that's like, this sucks. It's going to be hard. Nobody said it's going to be easy, but keep going. Like, it's, you're sweating underneath your clothes, but keep going. Keep moving forward. So people need that confidence building. They need to be spoken into. They need someone who's listening without judgment, and they need somebody to just straight up tell them what to do. And they need someone to like kind of cut through the BS, especially if they're an executive, they're getting yes all the time. They need someone that's like, this is a mirror. Like, you said this, but you're doing this. Or do you really want that? Or, so
right.
People do a lot of things.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say, knowing you, we've known each other for a long time. Knowing you, you're not going to dance around it. You're going to be like, no, that you shouldn't be a juggler at night. Like, I think that you're not. I've seen you walk. You're not going to be able to do it.
Truth telling.
Right. Yeah. Which is like kind of what you want to hear out of someone that is coaching you or therapizing you.
It would make an impact. That's for if you're hiring somebody and they're like, no, this isn't for you.
And your other point,
like, oh shit, I'm paying you and you're telling me that. Like, this person, if they're like able to then milk you and they're still being like, I'm not going to charge you anymore because this is a waste of time. A lot of people wish they had that.
You gotta know when to tap out.
Yeah.
I love that. You gotta know when to tap out.
Yeah.
Well, and then what you said earlier, a little bit ago, was that sometimes I call myself a male cheerleader for a lot of clients, where I'm like,
if you want shorts,
it's because of shorts, it's because of powerful legs, it's because
mostly the shorts.
I'm pretty good, pushing.
Definitely have the physique.
And I
good burn.
I've got the essence, really, is what it breaks down to. But I'm saying, like, if you tell me you want to do something, I'll try to annoy you about what you want to do, because I like when people do it for me. And so it's one of those things where a lot of people can get defeatist before they even begin. Like, I want to do this. I really feel a calling to do
Right.
poetry.
Yeah.
slam
At this point,
poetry.
people should know not to be like, I'm gonna do that, because I mean, between the two of us, we will come back and be like, did you do that?
Yeah.
You're really,
you
really
start
good at
that
that. Mom.
LLC?
There'll be stuff that I told you years ago, and you're like, "Are you still doing the thing?" Or like, "Have you done the?" I'm like, "Wow, you remember that?"
Mhm.
That's accountability too. Just telling somebody about people don't have accountability. It's like they need to tell somebody what they're going to do, and then have someone help them hold themselves accountable to do it.
Well, I think because I know how it is when you're like I wanted to be a comic since I was a little kid, and like you're just like, I'm gonna hold on to this, not tell anybody for a long time until I kind of do it, and then you do it, and you're like, I don't know if I'm any good at it, and you're kind of always questioning yourself. So it's like,
But then when you put it out there, you're like, well, I put it out there. I have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, where were you? You said you were going to be there. Well, I quit comedy.
And seek out. I sought out people that knew stuff and really tried to absorb. Like I've told the story. Like Bert Kreischer, when I was 21 and moved to LA, he was nice enough to meet me at the Mellors Improv and gave me like really great advice. And then he was like, "Come in the main room." And every time I hang out with him at a show, he's like, I'm the most hungover I've ever been in my life. And then goes up and fucking rips it, like fucking murders. And he's like, yeah, that wasn't that great. And I'm like, what the like, but he'd be like, look, you got to keep at it. And I think he was like, you're an athlete. He was an athlete. Like it's a lot of reps. And it was like, oh, I can kind of contextualize this a little bit. So you need like seeking out these nautical beacons like yourself if you want to do something outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, you need somebody that's like, keep going. To have somebody like that, that's like, you're going to get up there and bomb, and you just have to do it again. And do it again and do it again. Like anything you want to do. And when you first start coaching, you may not, like somebody asks you something, you're like, I don't know. Or, it's like, why am I not able to get this person to like move forward? I mean, that comes with experience of working with a lot of different type of people and training and things like that. But gosh, it would really suck if I quit, right? And now I've like made an impact. So I think people need somebody to tell you, like, keep going. It's not always going to be pretty or perfect, but like do it anyway. Fail fast, still keep going and like pushing you forward. Like not everybody is like seeking out. You're a doer though. Like you're a special kind of productive doer.
Because I'm a C+ student, so I have to try harder. I've got a small penis, so I have to do a lot of foreplay. A lot of these things to make up for my
everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where I think like Eric is an artist, and I walk in every time and I go, do it better. And he's like,
yeah, he
yes,
does.
sir.
And he hits me with this little stick he carries around. It's like in his back pocket all the time. It's like out of nowhere.
I'm like, what is this bullshit? I can't believe you're showing your children this. And
I know. And he slapped
and
right back of the legs.
Cartoonishly put it over his head, the canvas, so his head pops through. But all right, before we have to close it out, we have to ask everybody their first time on. What advice would you give your 13-year-old self? Yeah, we're deep. Yeah, you didn't see that coming.
I didn't.
Yeah, we're not all dick jokes. We're mostly, but we're not all.
My 13-year-old self, man.
Yeah, so we put the
scenario. That's kind of hard because a few things I'm like, look, you could die. Don't do some of those things. But
we can vamp a little bit if you want.
The other side of that is like, but I survived it. So I don't know what I would tell my 13-year-old self.
We can give you some time.
This is what I would tell my 13-year-old self.
Okay.
Chase joy and like keep having fun, because we kind of grow up and like the school system gets us. Then you have to pick a degree, get a career. There's going to be recessions. Just keep chasing joy and play and try to have as much fun as you can in everything that you do. If something gets uncomfortable, doesn't feel good, you don't want to do it, then don't. Like figure out a way not to do it. The point, I think, of the human experience is to decondition all the crap that we have to go through, but to have fun. And when you're like in your purpose, it usually feels really, really good. That's why you can keep doing it. You never run out of energy doing it. So I would tell my young self to like don't stop having as much fun as possible. Because I feel like college, I had a lot of fun in school.
Oh, I
and
remember.
then adulthood,
And that frat.
then like adulthood
Naked
hits,
dude.
right? And so it's like, just keep chasing joy and having fun. Don't let anybody like put you into the box of like, you're an adult and you got to be serious and you got to do it. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I love that.
And know what you like is fun when you're a little kid and not get talked out of it, right? So it's like, people are like, that's stupid. And you're like, I don't know, I don't really like this. And I think that kind of falls under the umbrella of like, kind of what everybody says is like, don't fall into this stupid social thing that you don't care about anyway, because it didn't matter when you look back at it. And you should, I like playing with Legos, probably way too late, but I
still like playing with Legos.
Yeah.
What?
But it's like
That's a great. That's
you feel
Or
embarrassed.
teachers, the same thing. People change their whole trajectory based on the feedback from one teacher's feedback. One time.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't listen to your teachers, kids.
Yeah. Well, look, I had a hot math teacher, and I think that's why I excel at math.
Ones,
yeah. Shout out to Julie Draper. What up, girl? That could actually get back to me.
Yeah. Well, I'll put that in the show notes. Hashtag
this
Julie
is
Draper.
A small city in some.
I'm going to do it so that the keywords pop up. Julie Draper's getting tagged, yo.
Whatever. She's former cheerleader, was my math teacher in middle school. Guess what? Guess who got A's to make up for the C's and D's and the other things? But yeah.
The smart kids?
Yeah. And I got a B. No. Appreciate you coming on. We'll try harder. We'll try better.
We'll do better next time.
We'll do better. No, when I read it like when a parent says I'm disappointed, and I was like, oh, I fucked up.
You know what though? I think I want to point out that this is a great example. I feel like last year, white people specifically, were very afraid. And when I say last year, I mean like George Floyd, just that whole like situation in our country and everything coming up in our society. And white people were like afraid to say anything, afraid to ask questions, afraid of just all the things. And so I think this is a really, really good example of someone going, oh man, I screwed up, or like, oh, I made a mistake, or oh, I just didn't know, or I thought it was funny. And somebody saying, you can do better, and then pointing it out, and you receiving that in such a positive way and going, yeah, I can do better. Thank you for that. Let me actually show other white people how we can do better. And I just want to point that out, that like, it doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be anything. It can just be an opportunity for all of us to expand. And so I just want to give you some kind of kudos for the way that you handled it, and just being receptive and open, and like not being defensive or just anything. I don't know. I just feel like I want to point that out.
Well, I appreciate it. This show, when we originally kind of got it going, and when Eric got in as a co-host, and we really started taking off with it, it was really about, we want to hear about failure. We want to hear how you fucked up, and then how you kind of resolved it.
How you were accidentally racist.
Well, I mean, look here, and then here's the pragmatic tips. Here's not a Tim Ferriss like, you can work 4 hours a week and get by. Like, that doesn't help anybody. Like, that's cute and nice and seems cool, but it's a wet dream. It's one of those things where I think like the pragmatic advice, like, here's a pro tip: don't ask your black friends don't ask to touch their hair. It's not cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah, dear white
That's
people.
a good tip.
I watch. Yeah, it's not. No matter how fluffy and you want to. No
matter how complimentary you are.
Yeah, no.
Of this.
I mean, I didn't realize that was a thing white people do a lot, and I was disgusted to find out that's like a thing.
I know.
It's like,
yes.
I'm not part of that white people. Like,
when you know better, do better, and then like help other people do better. So just kudos. I mean, not a pat on the back, but kudos to you, really.
So if you see like a white person talking to a black person, be like, don't ask to touch their hair. Say that to them,
yeah,
so then we're doing our part.
Yeah, blurt it out like you have Tourette's.
Right, just burst in. Doesn't matter, mid sentence, just do it.
No,
that's what society needs.
Well, no, I mean, look, this is what friends are for, to keep you accountable, even though we don't get to hang out as much as we want to. But it's one of those things where I never, like, especially with comedy, I never want anybody to feel bad about any of it I'm doing. Like, I'll always try to be the butt of the joke. And so that's why I was like, oh shit, this is not that cool. So we'll do better. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun.
See you, girlfriend.